Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Elke, welcome back to our 10-part mini-series on what I wish someone would have told me when I started out on Zazzle. And actually, Jen and I both, when we first started out on Zazzle, we were just totally lost.
Yeah.
And it didn't look so good for us. And actually, when you go and search the internet, if you just discovered Zazzle, which is really this is for you if you're a beginner, right? Like if you just found Zazzle and then now you're going like, this looks like a cool idea. But then you go check it out and you'll find a lot of videos besides ourselves. Like we're the different ones. We're like, it's good. You can make money on the platform, even though we can't make any income claims. But all the other videos are like a little bit negative. Like, you kind of go like, did I make the right decision? And what I would have loved back in the day, and Jen and I started back in 2008, and
hmm
yes, since then it hasn't been all crickets. The two of us have sold over $15 million worth of Zazzle product, and more importantly, we've helped our clients since 2017 sell over $165 million on the platform, and in 2024 alone, we helped them sell over 95 million on the platform. So it's wonderful to know that even though we started so long ago, it's still working for people today because they're still using our 5 strategies that are crucial to getting you from where you are now, which is right at the beginning, to getting to your goal, which is to make money on the platform the way you want. Okay. So this is part 3 of our 10-part mini series. And what's really important is, hey, if someone would have been able to tell us some of these things when we first started, gosh, we would have had a different outcome. So make sure you check out all 10, and then you'll be able to feel very confident that you're on the right path, or you just had a nice, kind, gentle friend tell you, i.e., the two of us tell you, hey, it's okay, it's all right, you're supposed to expect this by now, or you aren't supposed to expect this by now, so go figure it out, or get some help to figure this out. So today's topic, I feel overwhelmed by Zazzle's design tools.
Yeah. And I can relate to this.
I mean, even like you will be happy, not that it makes a difference to you, but when Jen and I first started, we go like, "What is this? How does this work?" There were no instructions, and it was so complex and so hard to figure out, and we never really knew if we'd publish something or not. But now it's actually quite straightforward, and it's huge. It's like a mini Photoshop right on the Zazzle platform, which
hmm
takes away so much of the like even entry fee because you don't have to buy Photoshop in order to be able to make designs. It's so cool. And so turn it around. Don't say overwhelmed. Just say, hey, I don't know yet, right? Because you'll get it, and it's so intuitive. Counter, like it's the simplest it's ever been. It just might not be what you're used to, right? And so let's start from there and gives you like just a little bit like give yourself more credit. I think you can
Yeah.
do it as long as you get the help that you need. And if you're watching this and you do have issues, then write them in the chat. Make sure that we get a really good idea as to what it is you're stuck on, and maybe we'll make another video, right? But in the meantime, we're just going to ask you to take a breath, right? Because it's going to be fine. It's going to be
Yeah.
good. You're going to be okay. All right.
Yeah. And I can tell you personally from when I first started out on Zazzle, their design tool is definitely completely different now. They've upgraded it and made it advanced. And like Elka mentioned, it's basically like a Photoshop program on the platform. And I don't want that to overwhelm or scare you
Easy.
either, because
Yeah.
it's easy.
Easy.
It's an
Yeah.
easy version, and it still like well, Elke and I, we've got a lot of instructional videos on how to use the design tool on YouTube. We definitely teach you that how to use the design tool when you come into our Profit by Design Academy coaching program. But if you just came across this video and maybe you've opened up your store and you're trying to play around with things, it can be a little bit confusing off the bat because you have this thing that pops up, and then all of a sudden you have options to upload images, you have options for text boxes, your options for shapes, and for creating certain masking tools and patterns and all of that stuff. And that might be just very overwhelming because you don't know where to start. But the thing is that it is easy to learn and start with the simple designs, right? And work your way up, because for example, if you were trying to create these really complex designs at the beginning, like personally, I tried to creating all these wedding invitations with multiple different text templates and multiple different options for people to customize. I forgot a whole bunch of them to create the proper text template, to do the proper photo template. And it's actually quite amazing now because Zazzle has upgraded their design tool to actually give you prompts as a designer and say, hey, this isn't going to be printed properly, or hey, this is outside of the print options and bleed lines, and then doing the proper fills for the photos. There's so many things that they've advanced that both Elke and I had to really keep track on what we were creating, because we could make our product look absolutely amazing and then post it for sale. And then when somebody came in and customized it, it looked really wonky because we didn't set up the things properly. So there is still a little bit of a learning curve when it comes to the text bounding boxes and making sure that your photo templates are proper, but it's a lot more easy than it was previously, right? And the one thing that I want to give a piece of advice to everyone is that if you're creating a product with multiple different text options for people to customize, make sure that each one is a template that's proper, right? You don't have to make every single text box a template. For example, if you're doing like a wedding invitation or a bridal shower invitation, there's certain pieces of information in that product that don't need to be customized by the customer, but make sure that you have the proper information. So for example, the bride's name, the event venue information, all of that stuff, because that was one of my biggest mistakes when I was first starting out, was that I completely forgot to create these templates, and then I would have to go back and then create a new version of that product and post it again for sale. And it got very confusing remembering which products were the right ones that had the proper templates and the other ones that didn't. Yeah. So the pain point here that we want to discuss, and I know I never went into my own little story, but you're probably frustrated or overwhelmed by using the design tool, understanding the templates, and having the option for customization options that they can feel confusing at first.
But on the other hand, it's okay, because once you know that those are pain points, you also realize that's the thing that makes Zazzle so unique and different. And as soon as you get these right, you're going to make a lot more money, because then the customer will also not have overwhelm, because you're going to make it really easy by setting these templates up correctly,
Yeah.
and also using the design tool properly, which, as Jen said, gives you so many prompts and ways that it's going to make, like, it tells you if the image is blurry that you're uploading. It tells you if your text is going to go outside the bleed line so it won't print properly. So many different things are just there to make sure that the customer's happy, right?
Mhm.
And that you, as Jen said, like, don't have to redo your product because of the issues that you had on the way to making it a live sellable product.
Mhm.
And it's just, Zazzle helps you out. Zazzle makes it easy. It's just that you are not familiar with the tool. And if you're like me, like when COVID hit and we started using Zoom, I was freaking out because it was something so new, and I was going like, Jen, just give me just tell me the steps. I don't get this. And like now it's like, okay, anyone and everyone knows how to use Zoom. But back then it was like,
It was freaky.
I was having a nervous panic attack, and it was like, okay, Elke, this is not really supposed to give you a panic attack, but it was. And all I really needed to do was stop panicking and get someone to help me. And as soon as Jen like walked the steps through, and I go like, I just don't get this part. And I was like, okay, Jen keeps helping me and telling me like, this is like, step through this, and this, and this. And then all of a sudden it's like one day she goes like, you still need help with setting up the Zoom and like actually going live. And all of a sudden it was like, no, I'm good, because I practiced, right? And so that's what you're going to do. You're going to practice with this tool, and it's going to go, at one point you're going to go like, I like this tool. It's
Yeah.
very helpful. It's really giving me a lot of options. It's like, there's also things in there that are really cool. Like Zazzle buys all these fonts for you, so you don't have to go and find fonts. It gives you the option to tile, so you don't have to know how to use Procreate to create a pattern.
Yeah.
There's so many cool things that allow, and you don't need Photoshop because you can add layers, you can add backgrounds, you can't create like new images in the tool, but you can bring it all together and layer it right in the actual tool on Zazzle, and you can design really cool stuff. So
Yeah. And I think I wanted to just bring it back to the point that you said that if you're nervous of using the design tool because you're overwhelmed, you have to learn, but then it gives you all these amazing opportunities, because if you were to shy away from creating things that are customizable, then it actually limits the potential of how much you could sell on the Zazzle platform, because that is the whole concept of Zazzle, is that it's a platform where people can come on and customize this individual product and make it unique to themselves by adding their own photo, by adding their own information, etc. And so the solution, like Elke mentioned, is just get practice and play with the design tool, learn. That's how Elke and I learned. We didn't have anybody on our, like, behind our shoulder pointing things out and saying, okay, well, this thing here does this and this does this. Her and I had to just sit down and really look at it and figure out how could it work for us. And I think the best thing that everybody should learn too is that how does it make sense to you? Because each and every one of us uses the design tool differently, right? I use my keyboard a lot because I know all the shortcuts. Elke uses, the mouse, and then we do a lot of dragging and dropping, but then there's other things where you can use the menu. And so make it comfortable for you, because there's so many ways to not only use the design tool to design, but use the design tool to, like, utilize the design tool, if that makes sense.
post it for sale. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else was part of this? Yeah, like it's just one of these things where you realize once it's not a restriction, you start to realize it's being used as a tool that will get you things that you couldn't have made or done any other way. Not
Mhm.
even just the posting, but like we have several clients that love using the shape tool because you can bring in lines, you can bring in squares, ovals, circles, triangles. And then if you look closely, like some people have like 20, 40 layers of each like different shape, and then that shape becomes part of the design, and they
Mhm.
make little cute characters, they make cute like really cool patterns, and yeah, and or they import certain aspects like multiple different blooms and multiple different stems of artwork that they've purchased, and then they literally create their own unique variation and arrangement right here on the Zazzle tool. So it's not just about posting, it's also about creating. And that's what makes it fun. And I love, and I always have loved that you can then see it in real time, right? So one little change can always see what it looks like on the product. And that is the best thing ever, because you can actually just use the tool to make fun things. You don't even need to post them. You're just having fun being creative, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, that being said, you're probably going like, I just need to get the job done so I get my products out there, right? And so, as much as we're not going to go through like every single detail of the design tool in our Sold Bootcamp, but Jen's reminding me that I have to talk about this, is it will help you to just understand when you see us critiquing other people's designs when you're in the Sold Bootcamp, because you're going to join because it's the best thing ever. Very small amount to get in, and you're going to spend 2 weeks with us. And one of the things we're going to do is actually critique people's designs. And so when you see us using the design tool to just kind of tweak something or add an element or whatever that we're going to, help with any of the participants that are providing us their homework assignment, which one of them is to make an intentional product, you're going to be so much more comfortable understanding how this tool is not only user friendly, but allows you just to go soaring way beyond where you possibly could have ever imagined you could take all your products. And you're just going to go like, wow, how powerful is this? Right?
Mhm.
Instead of staying overwhelmed, you're going to be empowered.
Mhm.
So link is in the description below. Make sure you sign up. It's from March 5th to the 19th. And this is definitely going to be something that's going to take you from where you are now to the next step where you are stuck getting to, okay? And especially when it comes to overwhelm with the design tool, you're going to feel so much more comfortable afterwards because you're going to see the power, and then you're going to go like, well, how did you do that, right? And instead of going like, oh my gosh, there's this to learn and this to learn and this to learn, but when you learn because it's fun, like you want to do something, like how did you do that? Then all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's also all these other things that I can learn, and now it's easy. Just like what happened with me and Zoom, because that was like a huge, I was just like in total anxiety mode. And maybe that's where you are, but we want to get you out of that because it's going to be fine. It's going to be
Mhm.
okay. And as long as you're part of this boot camp, you're going to understand why. Because it's not just using the tool, it's also all the other things that go along with it, that pressure to make the right product, to figure out your niche and all those things. And you're going to realize that if you have people in your court like we are, when
Mhm.
you're part of this old boot camp, it's going to make it a lot less overwhelming.
Yes.
Okay.
So join by clicking the link in the description, and we'll see you in the Sold Bootcamp March 5th to 19th. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you there. Bye.